Vanglorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United front. What you want, what you want, what you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square, solid, and you circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick your can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And US with KBA is a win-win. 1K, 1K.
Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Live. I'm here with the everyday African that make everything happen every single day and in every single way. So we're gonna get into his journey, his story, his legacy, and what he want to share with the family. Comes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others. My guest here on the Spotlight series, that African warrior, Obasi Kinte. Welcome to the platform, my brother. How you feeling?
I'm honored. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. You know, they say the blacker the berry, the better the blacker the power, the better the podcast or something like that. So I'm rolling with that.
I like that. I'm rolling with anything that's black on black, brother.
Good, man. Glad to finally get you here. Shout out to Conwardo for connecting us and hooking us up so we could take this walk. You understand what I'm saying? So for those who may not be familiar with you, take a few moments to introduce yourself. We could go from there.
I am Obasi, and that's Jerry. That's in honor of God. And Kinte. That's my last name. Well, I'm still in transition. Find my name, but that name is dear to me. That's my brother for that transition in 2004. So I just decided on my journey, why not take my brother's name? Always keep that memory alive. So that's the the significance of Obasi Kinte. Who am I? And that's the thing when we were doing the bio, and I'm like, I'm coming up. I'm just an everyday brother, man. I'm just an everyday warrior that found my calling. I found my calling, and I found something that was bigger than me. And throughout this journey, the journey has been long. And I'm sure because a lot of us are like-minded, and a lot of us, a lot of us, we've been through many parts, and the journey continues. So, that's just about me. That's the part of the Obasi Kinte. Race first, a BB for Hodier warrior. A lot of the books that changed my mind, changed my life around. I think one of the most influential books I read from Nwalimu Baruti was the very first book I read was The Effeminization of the African Male. And that book right there just took my mind. And then it was a series, It followed up by a Sappho, So right. This is a couple of years ago. So I'm still on my journey. I'm still searching. Lucky, and like I said, grace is to link up with brothers like you.
That's real. So where did you begin? What would you say, on this particular path to your, rebirth and the resurgence of your African mind? What was that like for you?
the rebirth to get to my African mind, like what started it all.
Right.
What started it all was just curiosity, bro. You know, a lot of us, you know, I don't like the word conspiracy theory because sometimes that takes away to the validity of there is a secret cabal that is plotting and doing things. But I was kind of just searching, and you know, you're doing that kind of like stuff like the Illuminati, you looking into stuff like this, and that brought about the consciousness. And I was like, wait a minute. No, that never was told. And then once I began to find my way back to reading, I started picking up books like Behold the Pale Horse. So now, you know, kind of seeing a trail, and throughout my spiritual journey, once I kind of let go Christianity, I found my way to like even though there's a form, I found my way to like the roster, and that instilled in me like this peace. But the journey continued, and then that's when I segued into what I mean by bumping into Nwalimu Barudi's teachings, Nana Marimba Ani. Once I started really reading those, that's what the one that opened me up to figure out I'm African, because I also spent time being a spokesman of a chapter of a Black Panther. This was the Black Panthers for Justice, so I was a spokesman, and that really put into me like, man, you got to do something good with your voice. In my personal, like, everyday life, I found my way into like radio broadcasting. So okay, that's sometimes like I figure, and I tell people like your journey will connect with like what you're good at. So everything involved me kind of like always speaking to people. I was always the brother, you know, the friend that everybody comes to advice, and it just started gelling, bro. It just started gelling, and once I figured out I'm African, it was a ball game.
That's what's up right there. I mean, many of us go through a transformation process, you know, with the family and all kind of stuff. So, you know, how did you navigate through that? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh
like
man,
you go from one thing to the next thing. You know, what was that process like?
For me, it was freeing. For me, it was learning. For my family, it was, boy, you going crazy. You know, what's wrong with you? You know, it was kind of like that when it comes back to them. And then whenever you're telling a family that's kind of religious that you're giving up, that you're kind of looked at as the boogeyman. So what they also have to, what I would tell people that they have to do, you have to have a real thick skin when you start to seek this knowledge, because there are going to be so many people that's telling you crazy. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about. Because anytime a brother or a sister becomes conscious, that's the first label they hit you with. Oh, he crazy. Oh, he sees something else. So, you know, that was kind of topsy-turvy. But my mom, you know, and she just transitioned, you know, but my mom was like my strongest support. Because she began to see that the work that I put in, she see that I wasn't just talking or looking at YouTube videos, or, you know, she saw that you're pretty serious about this. And it was just reading, it was just learning. And but some of the other family, they still kind of, I'm the one that, you know, they you know, they don't want to talk to, because there you go with all that old, you know how they do, there you go with all that old black talk. So I'm still kind of that family member, depending on what circle I'm in.
That's a beautiful thing right there, you know, because everybody will see in their own time, in their own way, in their own season. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Consistency and patience, and, you know, allowing the change to be seen. That's something. You see what I'm saying? Like, we as farmers, you know, we don't control at what time and date that the crops come in. We do control our effort in regards to planting the seeds and ensuring adequate sunlight and irrigation. So, and before we see the fruit of our labor, we see the weeds. The weeds pop up. You see what I'm saying? So, in that process of seeing proof of life from the seed, that the seed is going to bear abundant fruit, weeds come first. You see what I'm saying? So if you be dismayed by the weeds, you won't see the greatness of the seed. So instead of thanking the weeds for proof of life, because weeds don't grow where there's no life. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Life is evident there. You know, the weeds are there. You know, even a rose with all its thistles and thorns is there as a protection agency. So your family might want to see if this gonna be some passing fad. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You did so many things before, and no, you know, the world may not know you like your family do. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So, you
Right.
know, they're transforming right along with you. So
Right.
that weed is there as a tester for the seed.
Right.
So just like you were saying in regards to having that thick skin, you know, with your family, if your family can't do you bad, ain't nobody else in the world gonna stand a
Nobody.
chance.
No,
You see what I'm
nobody else.
saying?
And I
Yeah,
like.
so that's that
I like
weed
how you put
tester.
that. I like how you put that, referring to like the weeds, because also
Mhm.
what happens in that you weed out who's real and who's not.
Right.
You weed out who really understands you and who doesn't. So there are a lot of my family. They're still kind of adjusting to the Obasi Kinte. I still have them that they may call me by my government name. That's fine. I don't split hairs, but the more they
Right.
see me put work in, and the more they see me really stand on my African self, and like you said, it's just a phase they're going through. You know, it's just something. But the more they see it's building momentum, and then like shout out to my close brother, Ken Wardo. You know, when you're aligning with other people, that's what also helps with the journey. When you begin to align yourself with people that not only share your vision, but they share your pain also. It may not be the same pain you went through or how it is, but they share your pain in different ways, and you like. It's kind of like trading war stories in a way, like, yeah, so you find that relatability.
Right. And it takes patience and growth on our part. You know, we're
Yeah,
growing as well, just like they're growing. So we got to stay in tune with that. And we don't chart our growth, nor do we chart theirs. You know,
right.
so being consistent and giving that adequate amount of sunlight and irrigation, I'm telling you, it changes everything. You know,
Yeah,
people change before your eyes. You know, it might take a long time. You know, but they change. You understand what I'm saying? And they're
yes,
going to
sir.
remember you for that change. You
Yeah,
know, so
yeah.
I started off on this journey at like 15. You know,
Oh,
that's
wow.
like almost 25 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, in that process along the way, you get to changing. You know, first you want to debate everybody and all this other stuff. You
Yeah,
go through these processes and all that. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? But I sincerely came out of a space of love, you know, and you could run people off, you know, claiming it's love and it's really slander and misunderstanding. There's nothing that you learn on your path in consciousness that's supposed to have you in conflict with your family. It's supposed to have you more in love and engaged and patient and kind with your family than anything. You see what I'm saying? So when we erode that from our psyche because we start dealing with the learned behaviors in the process, we could get lost in that. You see what I'm saying? You might have some cats they're just looking to debate and argue all the time.
all
That's
day.
all they that's all they have to offer, you know, at that particular stage that they're in. So, you know,
Right.
just like, you know, your
And,
family got
is
jokes,
that
they got jokes too. You see what I'm saying? So like you could be the butt of the joke and not know. You know, and the movies and the music have done an artful job in painting, you know, us as crazy folk. You see what I'm saying? From a living color to date. So they're ready already. You see what I'm saying?
absolutely. So also, particular when I do read European literature, but I know I do understand the need too. We have to like study both sides of the chessboard. So it's funny that when you mention like that's something I always talk about, like the social learning theory effect, where we begin to just learn by observing others. So a powerful book that I picked up was the Tavistock Institute. So in understanding the Tavistock Institute and the shaping of the masses, the shaping the minds, we can understand. Okay, well, who is this behind the curtain that's kind of like controlling controlling the narrative. So you go back to, like, okay, we'll use Francis Nelson's entertainment portion of the 9 areas of activity. So when you go back to, like you said, living color, well, what images kind of shaped us away from, when we were sort of at some of our apexes, like whether it was the Black Power movement. Look at the sense of camaraderie we had. We might not have had it all figured out, but what they learned in this social learning theory of how to break us. So like you said, this is why, I don't, and you spot on, because we came across where when I first learned, I want to tell everybody, I want to go in, I want to spit how much I know, I want to prove this person, I want to wait till the church lady show up at the door so I can tell her about, that's reckless energy. So once I poured and started understanding my divine self and started understanding my the Mayat, the balance, the order, we got all of these sections, we got all of this, and everybody but we don't have no camaraderie. Make sense what I'm saying? So that's more so about, as you see me putting out more, material and just really doing stuff. How do we connect ourselves? How do we connect with a group of brothers? Because we also have to look at the mantras that they constantly tell us. What's some of the mantras they tell us? Oh, Black folks can't get along. And we start repeating this. Well, it ain't gonna work because we can't get along. And it's power in, power in that life and death in the tongue. What we speak, we manifest.
That's right.
So like when we started seeing, now it's funny, we go back to In Living Color, and we would see like the characters like Jamie Foxx would play as Wanda. We would see like David Allen Greer and Damon Wayans when they would play the Hollywood man. And look at where we at now, Brother Knowledge. Look at where we at now with the men and the dresses.
Right.
And it's almost an assault on you standing as a strong Black man. They're labeling you all these things because you uncompromising. You want to tell your son no. I tell my son knows. Well, he's old, but I also have grandchildren. So my grandson knows, no, you don't do that. Right. So just setting that standard, Brother Knowledge. And that's exactly like some of the things that happen to us, how they just socialized our minds.
Yeah, they were definitely prepared. You see what I'm saying? They had Damon Wayans sounding like, that crazy prisoner in jail. You see what I'm saying? So, where you find consciousness in life is in the absence of confusion. So if you're in a space where there's no confusion going on, you have a lot of time to concentrate.
Right.
So you put it all together. It also shows if you don't have any foundation, this is what you sound like. So all of this is not jokes. Everything is not a joke. You see what I'm saying? So people are like, oh, that was a joke, or that's, oh no, it's cute. Why you? No, it's not cute. No, it's not a joke. You see what I'm saying? And we got the most jokes in the world. But where is it? How is this joke used and intended? What's your intended use for this tool that you're using? You see what I'm saying? Because just like you said, life and death is in the power of the tongue. You see what I'm saying? So you can, resurrect somebody from a dead state, or you can put them to sleep. You can check them up out of here. You understand what I'm saying? So when you are mindful of what you say and your words have power, your thoughts have more power than your words. Because you can say something and that might have a lasting effect, but how you think and how you actualize your experience and how you see yourself is very, very important. And most times it's evident in how you speak. So you have to, use these words in a way that they are artful, but it's the evidence of your thoughts and upbringing and where your allegiance lies. You see what I'm saying? So they do these things by design. So I believe that they were, seeking to shed light on something, yet they were still controlled, even though they said they didn't have any control by what it was. Because if you remember, The Living Color was the Black version of Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And they didn't want to do that Saturday Night Live stuff. You see what I'm saying? They said it was corny, but then all they did was, make it dark. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So
So it's like this. So as a question, was it an achievement for us as black people to have our own version of Saturday Night Live, or was it a setback? It's kind of like that double-edged sword. And it's like, that's why I'm not one, I don't knock anybody, but I don't more so like, the first black first.
Right.
I don't understand how we black first. We're the black first to do something when we created everything.
Right.
So I don't, I'm more so, and another reason why I don't like to kind of like, get into the black first is because, to me, in my opinion, we're celebrating also, this is kind of like integration, because we say, oh, we're the first one to do this in this Europeanized system. Once again, is it an achievement or is it a setback? So, like, okay, like you said, when we begin to look at these things, yeah, it was funny, but like, okay, because sometimes, when I study a lot of this, brother, and I go back and I look at a lot of the TV shows that I came up in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
So when I go back and I start to look at like the psychological effect or the psychological warfare that they waged on us, well, I said, well, what happened kind of with us? And it was funny, in like one of the books is Monster by Saika Shakur. And when he's talking about the formation of the Crips, he said he looked up one day and it was just like bloodshed. It's like they're killing. But where did this also, so it's like, well, where did this kind of happen? So in the 80s and 90s, well, we saw the destruction of the black home at the largest with the crack epidemic. But then also they kind of romanticized it to us. They gave us Nino Brown.
Right.
They gave us Kane from Menace to Society. They gave us O-Dog. But look at the images they gave us to emulate.
Right.
So when people are fast forwarding and saying, well, what about black on black crime? Well, black folk, this is the conversations I can't have, bro. Well, what about us? I understand what my people are, but sometimes an empty wagon make a lot of noise. So it's like, okay, well, just sit back and listen and understand. So we busy saying, well, what about this? We doing it to ourselves, but nobody's understanding how it was induced in us.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, well, how did it get there? So when we just stay right there on the entertainment, just think, bro, like what was some of the most damaging music to us back then? But we didn't know. We was enjoying it.
Right. All of it works together. Baba John Henry Clark, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if you want a friend, look in the mirror. He said, we ain't got no friends. But you'll hear something like black and brown or oppressed people or people of color. They sold you drugs.
Right.
All of those people, they sold you drugs. Those people of color that you're talking about, they destroyed your family and your homes from, 10,000 miles away.
Right.
Them Asians, they sold you drugs. Latin America, they sold you drugs. You understand? They were thousands of miles away from you and they were selling you drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So, when Bob is speaking this to us, he said, you want a friend, look in the mirror. You are your only hope. You are your only savior. Look at it from whatever place you want to look at it and understand what is happening. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did Bob and Malcolm say, we can't look to unite amongst others until we unite amongst ourselves? Did we miss it? You see what I'm saying? Like, did we miss it? But there's no other place that's capitalizing of us being in this position at war with one another, internal, and being warred upon externally by them. That's going to be like, we need to help them out. You understand?
Yeah.
They're capitalizing and benefiting from us being in this position where we're warring with each other and being warred upon by everybody else on the planet.
We as Baba Baruti would always say, we running from Africa. Everybody else is running to it.
That's right.
Everybody else understand what a jewel, what a resource it is. When you look at someone, I don't like to call them like Prince Harry and Prince. I don't get into that. They Harry, but we see them. They're over there. Yeah. Then rewind. Okay, what they selling us? They're selling us the propaganda. These are some of the things I feel like we have to break. In my work, when I'm meeting with doing village meetings in my neighborhood, in my community, these are the conversations we're having. Okay, so once we understand how stuff got to us, okay, quite naturally we have to kind of do a reverse effect. So it's like, okay, you sit there and you tell a child, and I'm gonna use this word for this. You tell a child that it's a nigga all day or it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It computes that in the brain computer.
Right.
But when we tell them you're a warrior, you're a king, now we're starting to do that. So what we have to do, bro, we have to learn to control our narratives more. But we have to do it on a more grander scale. That's why I love the fact that you have a platform like this, because we always say we need our own. We have our own. But what are we pushing out to the world? We have a responsibility. Now, I'm also a warrior. I will war with, because what I don't like, brother, I don't like all of the schisms, all of the we're foundational Black Americans. We this, we that. And like I said, we fighting with each other, G.
Right.
We fighting with each other. And the European and the Asian and the Arab and all of them are just, why are we fighting them on? No, I'm a more. No, we in trouble.
Right.
We are in trouble. That's what I always say. We're not free. So whatever school you understand, do it in Black liberation. Do it in African liberation. So just that's also some of the things, like breaking some of these narratives that, you know what bothers me a lot, bro? The fact that I keep hearing a lot of my sisters say Black men don't protect them. They say they don't feel protected by us. So I'm thinking we have to remedy this as Black men. So some of the things I say, okay, when we're talking if we getting into now, we see the guy T.I.'s in all kind of trouble. Okay, we see R. Kelly's, we see all of this stuff. This stuff is still relevantly happening to us. So what I want brothers to understand is we got to be careful how we get behind that. Right. Because our children are always listening. So if our children are listening, our girls are listening, and we're blowing off sexual abuse or sexual abuse allegation, and we say, oh, they just lying. Oh, they just out for this. We have to be careful. We have to investigate as Black men, because our women are listening. They're looking to us for protection. But as soon as something happens, so these are some of the narratives I think we have to change, bro. Where we don't even get behind our women, we don't even give them the benefit of the doubt. Some of the things that'll get me in trouble on my social media, because we were supposed to do this, and Ken said, "Well, you're gonna do the knowledge radio when you get out of suspension." My page is always being shut down, but it's always warring for something in the name of us. It's never anything silly. So the fact that how our women are listening to saying they're abusing them, or when somebody flat out abused them, and what do? So I can understand what the sisters are saying. So this is why we have to galvanize and organize as Black men and say you do have protectors. So our women don't have to look to the enemy as that savior, because that's one of the things I also see on my journey, that the outsider is always looked at. Look at how the narrative they push them. They push them as they're always more gentle. The white man is always more kind. He's not as violent. He won't cheat on you, but they just don't understand they're silly. They don't understand their cultural seeds. So that's why we're a big proponent. We have to understand the African worldview, and we have to understand the European worldview. We have to understand the differences of these. They're diametrically opposed. We are not the same. Makes sense?
Perfect sense. No matter how many opportunities of detriment present themselves in every form, shape, and fashion, we're being warred upon on every level.
Yeah.
It's still the setability of hearts and minds. Being in a war zone and seeing all of this stuff up close and participating in retributionary activity, I have a different scope and view than someone who is politicizing about it or propagandizing about something that they have not taken part in. You see what I'm saying? So if you out there in the village, with the youth, and I'm watching on a computer, I don't have the same, scope and view that you have. I'm speaking from my vantage point, and you're speaking from your vantage point. You see what I'm saying? And everything has its place. So I can work in tandem and in harmony and collaboration with you by bringing light to what you're doing in the village to a larger audience because I have a platform. So what are you going to do with the platform that you have? You see what I'm saying? This is how you work in collaboration. So the brother Obasi out there in the village, I'm gonna talk about brother Obasi out there in the village to everybody in the world. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then bring brother Obasi on to talk about the lessons learned and how to break down these disconnects. You see what I'm saying? Now you go from what y'all call them, keyboard warrior, to African,
keyboard gang.
right, to an African liberation propagandist. Don't you think we need some of them?
Yes,
How you
sir.
think these narratives is getting around by our enemy? You know, so if we're dealing with terrorism, virtual terrorism, that's a good word.
Right.
We
That's a
need
great
some
word.
virtual counter-terrorists. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
people who are there that are dedicated to ensuring that the proper positive African narratives that's going on with us is being spread across the world to counter some of that improper propaganda. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So this is a place where you will always see Africans. You will never see anybody other than African people who are living an African lifestyle. I don't give a damn about anybody else, you know, all the way to that. And this may be the only place on the internet. Then that's fine. You understand what I'm saying? And it ain't likes and views and all this other stuff. I'm not confused by any of that. I'm very moved
Right.
in the way that my African ancestors can look to me with pride. You know,
Mhm.
my African elders can look to me with pride. My African peer group can look to me with pride. Our African youth can look to me with pride. You see what I'm saying? That's more important. That's more important.
Mhm.
You know, than the shenanigans or some kind of conversation. I'm not the history corrector. I'm not going to get on somebody's, you know, social media post and be like, oh, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. That's not my, you know, that's not my lane. That's someone else's lane. You know, as an African retributionary, I'm preparing for engagement with my enemy,
Yeah.
whomever they are, wherever they are, however I can find them. You understand what I'm saying? Until such time, preparation. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically.
Yeah.
You know,
And
honing
that's
them
also the
skills and you know practical application. So if they want a mantra for 2021, you know, skills acquisition and practical application. And message to the warriors, you know, Baba gave us a blueprint. You know, a good base. What skills do you have on this checklist, and how proficient are you? You know,
yeah.
if you have them skills and you all the way to the right with them, you should be teaching them and link up with those people with those skills that you are in need of for a trade. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you're operating in an African guerrilla fashion. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
you could have had 10 skills and it's 30 skills. So now you can teach those 10 skills that you know well in exchange for the 10 skills that you don't know well. You see
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So these are all, you know, in essence for skills acquisition and then practical application. So you have these skills, what are you doing with them?
Mm-hmm.
Practical in the sense that they're benefiting African people. You see what I'm saying? So this is
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, something to, you know, just a mantra. You see what I'm saying in regards to what you can do in your space for you to be able to affect change. I know you're about to say some part, but
Oh no, no, I'm right where I am because I got no. I'm saying that's the reciprocity thing of like how you said you send them to me because you see, okay, Obasi, you know, he on his circle, and then in the same fashion, I say, okay, well, you hit the brother Knowledge Born show because he don't have a whole bunch of foolishness on there. He don't have a whole bunch of. Now you come to and you see a straight just African or black platform. You see a platform that's people first. Something you said in that made a lot of sense. You said, I don't care about the likes. Because I think sometimes we get caught up and we feel like we've arrived because somebody may have 1 million views. But it's like, what's that narrative they're pushing? Like one, a lot of the ones when they were And I'm a person that I've kind of put it out there when it's like, okay, we're looking at like the whole indigenous, I'm Indian. We'll look at some of those and they have 1 million views, bro. But they not. It's wrong. Like you said, you're not the knowledge checker. I'm kind of one, But we also have to get back to where. Shout out to my Jegna, Baba Olatunji on Wamba. Baba Mku from the Raising Awareness group. So, also where you have elders that you still call and say, hey, a lot of us, it's okay to say we wrong, bro. I think a lot of why we're so misguided, because don't nobody want to be wrong. Don't nobody want to be wrong. Nobody wants to be corrected. If you know I'm saying something wrong, hey, pull me to the side and say, Obasi, don't say that. You might not want to say that. Show me why. But then I got to get rid of the David Ruffin. I can have David Ruffin in me and say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Right. We have to clean up like the standard. Okay, we use words like the Yoruba word. We use Iwa. We use the character. And everybody will read the book. And it's one of my brothers in my village. He'll always say, at some point, you have to become the book. That's right. So we reading all of these books. And I'm a big proponent because I work a lot with the youth. The children are always watching. They're watching how we solve issues. They're watching how we solve debates. So, I'm the same person. Knowledge, if you call me up off of this, I'm the same person that's giving you this interview that when we get off this phone, there is no representative that show up and I'm so professional and this is how we talk. And we know these brothers. We know them. So we have to kind of get back to just the practicality. Sometimes we can come on and we can teach all the comedic knowledge, but how does it relate to the people? Us saying that we got to show better examples to the children because we knew what all of those ones we named earlier, we knew what those images did to us. We knew when Snoop Dogg came out with his Chronic album, some of the lyrics he was saying, we picked that stuff up as it was gospel. So now, that separated how we connect with our women. So now brothers was feeling like suckers just for showing love. And it's like, no, we got to recalibrate this stuff. It's okay to love on your woman. Right. It's okay to go home to your woman and tell her she matters more to you than anything. That stuff is okay. We got to get back to being black men and say, I don't tell young boys, men don't cry. That's bull. Now what we're not gonna do is cry about everything. But it's okay to show emotion because we're kind of turning them into like non-Manchurian candidates, if that makes sense. Yeah. Nobody have it, and that's why sometimes, I just look at a lot of the memes and a lot of people are just so, it's a sense of pride not to have feelings. People say, oh, I'm cold. And I tell my brother, don't say that because anything that's cold is dead. I'm cold. I'm cold-hearted. And we don't know when we're speaking this stuff into our system, what's happening. I'm cold. I don't care about nothing. But meanwhile, the children are watching. Back to that social learning theory we're talking about. We still ain't deviating away from that. How our children are learning. Right. How our young 8-year-old boys are watching us deal with that. You're not going to ever see me in a dress. You're not going to ever see me watching a movie with men in dresses. So my children don't have to worry about that. We got to get to the point where it's not homophobic. It's not transphobic. These are created words by these crackers to keep us from... No, these words are okay. No, it's not. It's not okay for boys to put on this. We're men. We raise warriors. So I think just as we keep coming back to just the basic standard, brother Knowledge, like we got to get a standard. We got to get our character. It don't mean we perfect because we always got to throw that out there. Well, I ain't perfect. But that's basically disguise because you want to continue to do what you're about to say. I ain't perfect, but it's not about being perfect. It's about whether something right or wrong. It's like, is it appropriate? So that's a lot of things that I'm passionate about of just changing the condition of our people. Let's get a brotherhood healing circle. These are things we need. Let's get sisterhood healing circles. Let us show strength as black brothers. I don't have to come on your show and start a war. Now I'm coming in, I want to prove you wrong. Who winning?
I am it.
It makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and they condone that kind of behavior. You see what I'm saying? Like they showed us since Sanford and Son,
Mm.
and how supposed to conduct ourselves socially with one another. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Lamont was the brain of the business, and his father called him Big Dummy every episode. You understand what I'm saying? And that business wouldn't survive without Lamont. You know, and in actuality, off of the camera, you know, uh, the Bible went to war to make sure that everybody had the right pay and job, and even the sister that he got into it with on the episodes with, he walked away to make sure that she got paid. You see what I'm saying? So none of those things were there, on the actual episodes. But this is all of the confusion in regards to, how you socialize. So if you socialize with Sanford and Son, and the fact that you could be okay with doing the series with no woman, and then the woman that shows up, that's the sister of the woman that you love every episode, you at war with her.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These things aren't okay. And then you transition to, what was this show? Good Times. Good Times came out February 8th, 1974. First episode, first Black family we saw. And we saw James for what? 2 seasons? If it was 2 seasons? You see what I'm saying? And they got rid of him. And Esther Rose said she would not play a black mother without a father in the home. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? So she
Mm-hmm.
refused. So, all of these things was there. And once he was removed from the picture, they replaced him with someone who would buck dance. You understand what I'm saying? So the young boy who was the militant, he was no longer the militant. You see what I'm saying? And then the brother who was the clown, he became more of the father figure in place. And then they just replaced the father with someone who came in there hard, but he was soft. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
all of these things together in a place like Cabrini Green, where it was supposed to take place. You see what I'm saying? All of these things were stuff that they would have on their mind. So if you fast forward from that to like Give Me a Break, and then you look at the Cosby Show in a different world and all these other things that came along in that span, this was the socialization of something that was not there in our reality. You see what I'm saying? So you could see it
Right.
and imagine it. Don't forget Different Strokes and Webster and all that other nonsense that they came in there with on the side at the same time.
So
You see what I'm saying?
you tapping on something so strong that even though this is the 70s,
Right.
the lasting effect. Now go back to, let's see which one. I always like to say I think it's none of Amos Wilson and his not Blueprint for Black Power, his Black on Black Dynamics, where he talks about like the self-fulfilling prophecies.
Right.
Where, they would kind of, we're in this condition, and they said, well, it was kind of prophesied. Well, it was because of the handlers. It was because of the ones that was controlling the narrative of the ghetto. They shaped that ghetto to be like that. They shaped that ghetto to where you had the Ned, the winos. They shaped that ghetto to have it, and we was able to relate to that because we knew the neighborhood crackheads. We knew the neighborhood winos. But it was all like just induced from our enemies. So, something I think even more deadlier, and I call it, I wrote a paper about it. I called it the white savior complex. So when you're speaking about like Give Me a Break, Webster, Different Strokes,
yeah.
Your enemy cannot be your oppressor and your savior at the same time.
Right.
So this gave our people like false narrative that white people were gonna. It also clouded our vision of like, well, they ain't all bad. Mr. Drummond took the two boys from Harlem.
Right.
And we're not looking deeper into it that they called him daddy.
Right.
So, we understand the psychological warfare. They took Webster and also like when we moved next door to him, the Huxtables, we could kind of relate, but not really. It was positive, but I couldn't relate. I didn't, and to be honest, I didn't have a father in the home. I had a strong mother. So I can't really relate. Now,
During the crack epidemic, at the height of the crack epidemic,
okay.
a two-parent household, a doctor and a lawyer, all of them, the family going to college and all that, like all these things that were impossible. You understand what I'm saying? For 90% of us, like impossible. You see what I'm saying? So in a brownstone in Brooklyn, you see what I'm saying? Like, so there are things where he had to practice from home. You know, she was at the office. Like his schedule was just fluid. Like it was a bunch of other stuff that was there in this dynamic to where they painted a picture of a false reality. So it's something that you could hope for, but most of us would never see. You see what I'm saying? So was that bad? No. You see what I'm saying? That
Mm-hmm.
wasn't bad. Because they also gave us Fat Albert in the game. You see what I'm saying? Like, so all of these things come together, but there was also a hint to where they had some of the same characters, and the longevity of it is these devils never died. They were all around, so they were around from the '70s on up. So we got Hal Williams that was in Sanford and Son, that was the father from 227. You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Right.
So he was the police and the saving grace for the cracker that came in there with him. Supposed to be using these terms that was over our head. You see what I'm saying? And he would translate it. You see what I'm saying? So they would have Rallo, that's over there, and he was in What's Happening. You see what I'm saying? So then they had Ned DeWino that was in,
was he Woodrow in Sanford and Son?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Same dude. You see what I'm saying? With the same kind of demeanor. You see what I'm saying? So he was drinking because he didn't want to be with that woman. You understand? Like this is how they're perpetuating that. You see what I'm saying? And then he's in, this other TV show without her. You know what I'm saying? Without a woman and on the street. You see what I'm saying? So these are the same people that create and cast these narratives in our mind and how we see ourselves, how we see black men, how we see black children behave, and definitely how we see black women. You see what I'm saying? Loud, rolling the neck. Homosexual Europeans made all of these narratives up that we operate in. You understand what I'm saying? So this loud, neck shaking, all of this other stuff, it's a detriment to African women. You see what I'm saying? So the closest, now look at this fix right here. The closest we got to the demeanor and character of African women to be celebrated was Claire Huxtable. You see what I'm saying? Now look, if they can give you something, they can take it back from you. They gave that other thing that just got into office back to us as Claire Huxtable. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the same kind of mind map where they give you a character and they take it back from you. You see what I'm saying? So this is all together in the same cycle. And Felicia Rashad is still acting to this day. You see what I'm saying? So no matter who she is, we'll still see her as Claire Huxtable. So if we can see her as Claire Huxtable, we can see this thing, and I'll call it a thing because it don't got nothing to do with us. You see what I'm saying? Back again, playing a character. You see what I'm saying? A character whose demeanor was supposed to be in that same kind of manner, who was responsible for the detriment of real black women and destruction of black families. You understand what I'm saying? But she could play the character and skin and grin and be in a position to destroy the entire world. You understand what I'm saying? So it's always a game and it's always an agenda, and it always comes in the same kind of place where we look for characters. You see what I'm saying? Everybody went for Barry, who changed his name to Barack because of The Rock from wrestling. You see what I'm saying? So there's always a character in regards to how these things go. And when you understand these characters, we see that we fall for these types of characters and characteristics all the time. So instead of us improving our character, we learn how to be real good characters. You see what I'm saying? Like real good casting characters and actors and actresses. You see what I'm saying? In regards to this.
And that's why we continue, like you said, that's why we can't get out of the circle. Because go back, like you said, you hit something strong again. All we were able to do, we forever gonna see her as Claire Huxtable, no matter what she does, no matter what kind of role she accepts. That's always embedded in our brains because that was influential in our growing up. So that also hinders us from being able to properly assess and critique and criticize. Because sometimes we have to go against the grain. We have to criticize. I'm a person that if it's not for us and it's causing our damage, I don't care who's doing it. If I'm doing it, criticize me. Get on me. I'm no different. And I think just as we come back to getting the Black family together, we have to, number one, in our elevation as men, for a lot of the brothers that's searching, you got to get around a better clique of brothers. Get around you a better village of brothers. Right. Get around you some brothers that tell you, hey man, go home to your lady, go home to your children.
Right.
We have to stop enabling the foolishness. Learning, like we said, being able to be more expressive. Because a lot of what they did to us, they took away our ability to feel. They took away our ability to love. Because when we think about how we really learned how to love, just think about, okay, now we're talking about through all these TV shows, these same mechanisms taught us how to love.
Right.
So some of the things, like when I look at it and I compare it to a European show, a white TV show, like when we looked at Al Bundy, he was the epitome of that. He hated his woman. He hated his woman. It was a chore to do anything. So somehow we started picking up this narrative that it's a chore to be with our women. And I tell him, I said, that's not us. No, we have queens. We don't like something else you said. We don't just have guys that's okay with this. No, if I were to do a movie, I want a Black love interest.
Right.
So some of the movies and all of these things were detrimental to us. So back to the 9 areas of activity, the entertainment fed the economics.
Right.
So now we can't get rid of a lot of the narratives because some of the things they say, and that's kind of like, to me, bro, and I don't know how you feel, but it's kind of different and it's difficult to put it together when there's such a love affair and character worship. Because when we're saying people, like we'll use celebrities when we're warring on things like, and I call it a thing because I'm not sure what it is. When we're warring on things like Meg Thee Stallion, there are a lot of parents that's saying, well, everybody else ain't doing it, but we have to understand what these characters are still continuously doing. The war don't stop. That's what keeps it always relevant. These images, when I'm telling the young brothers in the hood, go talk to the young brothers in the hood. Tell them why, they shouldn't, emulate NBA young boys' behavior, because we see that brother needs some healing. Imagine you said you've been in this since you was 15. So imagine you 15 with $1 million or millions of dollars. How would we act? It was my African mind that saved me. So my heart always go out to the brother before. Now, sometimes I am, because, we practice my so we must judge. We must lay it on the scale and judge righteously. But sometimes you got to understand, you got to reach out, because that's what helps me to understand, like the book, once again, the Tavistock Institute. And it's written by the cracker John Cole. But in this, he's telling like step by step of how they socially engineer the minds of the people. How they would socially engineer us to get us to go for certain images they put out. Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey.
Right.
So now everybody's still worshiping Oprah, but she's against us. But we can't tell them that because they have this love affair for her when she played Miss Sophia. You know, so we have to be able to decipher Cliff Huxtable from Bill Cosby.
Right.
You know, Felicia Rashad from these were characters they gave us, and like you said, they keep giving us the repetitive cycles of food, like the foolish black man they gave us, whether it was My Wife and Kids, how dumb Junior was, how dumb Cole was.
Right.
We're too serious. They always want to make sure you're never serious. And when it came to like the revolutionary character, like you hit it right on the head when they had Damon Wayans using all these big words. Right. You know, this kind of you don't want to take the revolution serious. See, this stuff is purposely. So then, like one of the movies, my mom would like this movie, The Butler by Lee Daniels.
Right.
The way they demonize the revolutionary character in that. Mm-hmm. When we have certain episodes of Martin, when they had the brother that you know, he was the revolutionary, and at the end they have run into the arms of a white woman.
Right.
So that's why we have to like really understand like what the media is doing. That is definitely one of the areas that we're being attacked in. The media, the social media. The social media is probably one of the biggest juggernauts that we battle on a daily basis. You know, if that makes sense.
Those same producers that was in, you know, Married with Children, was in Martin, was in the Cosby Show. All of them, they're all there. You understand? You just got to look for the names.
Right.
You see, so when we saw Rock, you know, the TV show with Rock and Eleanor and Joey, you see what I'm saying, and his father there, you had all them generations in one house. They mimicked that, and they made that TV show Colors, where they had all them generations in the house with that black dude, with that cave dog, and her children and his son.
Thanks.
You see what I'm saying? And they had him, you know, one episode reading autobiography from Malcolm X, and he went downstairs calling them devils like he was supposed to. You understand? And then, and you know how they got him back off of his militancy? They celebrated his birthday without him. That's all it took. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, and he went down there and called the mother of the wife the devil, and she smiled. You understand? Like, yeah, you understand who I am? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's true. That's who I am. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the father's offended with his son. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's the same kind of game. So either they show you in this position, and Rock was, you know, cat who took on the drug dealer and all kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And then they have him in the movie hunting a black man. You see what I'm saying? Ice-T in Gang. You see what I'm saying? He was, you know, Sharif's father. You see what I'm saying? Like, so the same kind of presence of, you know, black masculinity. So whether it's Lawrence Fishburne or whomever it is, you know, they show you in a compromising position.
Yeah.
And this is how they show you. This is who you are. You see what I'm saying? So they show you that you're not to be trusted. You see what I'm saying? So seeding in the mind, you know, some kind of deception and deceit, because when they kill your character, you know, they kill you. You see what I'm saying? So that if you look at that, what was that last fight with Nate Robinson and that devil, right?
Right.
Deontay Wilder fighting that devil. It was the same instance. You see what I'm saying? So all of the memes went out, and all the black people had the memes with Nate Robinson laid out. Do you realize that is the African man destroyed? You see what I'm saying? So if they see a Meg Thee Stallion, they don't see a Meg Thee Stallion. They see black women. You see what I'm saying? So whether it's a man or whatever the hell it is, this is what they're showing you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So our young African women, girls are walking around here 10 to 20 times more sexualized than that cave dog. You understand what I'm saying? So they're looking at her as still like a child.
Right.
And they're looking at this African young lady because of what they saw by these homosexual Euros that put these videos out that Even that other dog wouldn't let her daughter be in the room with the same song she made for everybody else's fucking daughter. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
So these are all things where they say, oh, they know better. They're playing a role also. They're all playing a role. They're
Back
playing
to
a
that
role at
character.
our expense. You see
Back
what I'm
to,
saying? They're
back
playing a
to that
role
character,
at
bro.
our, and then when you look at that last part, right, religion, sex, and war, forget about it. You see what I'm saying? You go from economic, entertainment, education, labor law, politics, then you look at religion, sex, and war.
Yeah.
So it goes from subtle to apparent to magnified. You see what I'm saying in regards to the detriment. You see, so when you look at these major areas, these three quadrants of people activity, this is how you're warred upon.
This is
You
how
see
we.
what I'm saying?
This is how we're water upon. I say,
Right.
and something else, bro. Before we get out of here, we have to also with that because you brought that up and that's spot on. That she knows not to let her daughter listen to that song. She knows the damage and effect. So what we got to do is stop spitting to our females all the time. Sex sells. Sex sells. Sex. If you want to be relevant, sell yourself. Sex yourself, and then it's kind of like that double-edged sword. And then when they do it, they say, well, and then when something happened to them, they assault it. They say, okay, well, look at how she was dressed.
Mm-hmm.
That same Euro devil mentality. They feed you these images so they can justify the behavior to rape you. They feed us, we thugs, we savages, we criminals. As the great Dr. Joy DeGruy said, so they can treat us savagely. Look at them. Look at how they act. Look at them. They kill their own. They need to be. This is why we have to war. We have to war. Like you said, we have to counter. We have to war against these images. We have to do more platforms. And it was a pleasure, bro, to rock with you and you understand what's happening. You understand what's going on. As Dr. Wilson said, what's happening because most of us don't know what's going on. But the fact that we have to stop, like I said, just certain things we got to stop telling the youth. We got to say, no, sex don't sell. You creating stuff for your own self. Make that sell. Do for self sales.
Right.
So, man, it's certain things that I know as black men we have to stand on. We got to stand on it aggressively. We can't compromise with our children. We can't compromise with our women. We can't compromise with each other. We have to really be each other's brother's keeper. We have to really be able to trust one another. Because when we're looking at the factors of the Willie Lynch, fear and distrust. So they got there. It's like, wow. But then also that distrust, we'll trust everybody else, but say, no, I don't trust him. We trust everybody. We trust the Mexican. We trust the so-called Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Trust them old nasty cave beast.
Right.
We trust all these dogs. You got to get back to trusting each other, and it's a process. But things like this helps the process, man. This platforms like this helps it because this message is able to get out, and it wasn't a clown show.
Unless it was Homie the Clown, boxing him over the head.
I don't think so. Yes, sir.
So, what's final thoughts? We in Black History Month. We coming up on Black Love Weekend. Give us some Jews. Is Black History Month still relevant for you? And what does Black Love mean?
What's Black love mean?
Yeah, for you.
Oh man, Black love mean life, man.
Hmm.
Black love mean the continuation of excellence. Black love means the infinite possibilities of us continuing to create strong generations of warriors. But it had to be black righteous love. We can't mix it with that, as my brother would say, those Rome antics. We want the romantics. No, we can't. No, we gotta get off that. We gotta learn, that black is worthy of love. Black is love. You know, so, you know, whether we celebrating that the day, I know plenty of babies going to be made this weekend, you know, let them be made in strength. You know, because we once was at these points where we celebrated this stuff, but through the growth. So if you're doing it, let that baby be created in health. Let it be created in peace, not chaos. So black love is everything to me, bro.
And the other question was about Black History Month. Is it still relevant to you?
I don't like to always play like the one that take things away, because it could be something that a child could see on a poster that could spark that curiosity of that knowledge.
Right.
So I don't see any point of just like beating it down. I'm not one that, you know, push it, because I celebrate 24/7. My house is always Black history. But sometimes those could be like wow, I didn't know Carter G. Woodson, you know, and then that could lead to a child reading the miseducation of Carter G. Woodson. So I say it's relevant as long as it's pushed in the correct way, as long as we have, you know, parents that's able to discern it, and once again have platforms like this that they can hear more of Black history.
Right. Well, let people know where they can find you. You know what I'm saying? Even though you be getting in Facebook, what you call it? Facebook.
Yeah, the Facebook prison. I'm known for that, you know, but
and you got a show also, a radio show?
No, not anymore. I'm actually relaunching it.
Okay.
You know, that was something I did, you know, years in my journey. But as we, you know, we coming back around to a full circle, I'm seeing the need of maybe, you know, it needs to reemerge. And so definitely when it's in the thing, I would love to return the favor and have you, bro.
Hey, let's get it.
You know, and I can be found on Instagram at I Speak the Truth 39. Okay, also my Facebook, Obasi Kinte, Kinte. And that's one of them things of enter at your own risk. We Black first and we don't play no game. And we love our African people. You know, that's the most thing, man. Just proud to be African.
Right. That's what's up. It's been a pleasure and an honor. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a stranger, man. You got to come back on through here.
Yes, sir.
Bring the village next time. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some of them brothers you linking up with. You know, we have a combo or something.
Okay. Well, you're already in contact with one of my close brothers in the village, Kenwado. So shout out to my brother Ken again, because I know he's watching. If he ain't watching, he's gonna watch. So yeah, man, and that's definitely an idea, and I'm sure they'd be open to it.
So, you know, put it together and, you know, we'll make this magic happen, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, we out of here.
All right, BB48.
BB48.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. Night in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get
and
back
that
to
motive
the
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.